the deal, YouTube? It's the weekly podcast. It's Big Gamers, and we got a theme song for you guys today. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. Look at all these roaches, ladies and gentlemen. All right, it's a lot to talk about this week. It's been an interesting week in YouTube, the gaming community. Yeah. So what's first? What we got to talk about today?
Okay, I'll throw you guys a little bit of a sidebar here. A little bit of good news first for the PlayStation faithful that are watching that never think we talk about good stuff. PS4 sold 9 million units. Congrats to them. Good job, guys. It's 9 million. That's good stuff.
Yeah, okay. That's awesome, man.
Cue the Joker clap from Batman too. I mean that's what I'd be doing right now. But yeah, that's good for them, man. I just that's brilliant. That's actually really good for I'm a fan of the industry and stuff. So anytime you can get 9 million units out as quick as that or whatever, then the industry's clearly doing really good. So
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
What is Microsoft at 5.5?
Well, they haven't even announced anything. They only do the quarterly stuff, so you won't even hear anything from them for another 2 months.
Oh, yeah, they do quarterly. They do. Yeah. All right. Well, kudos to Sony and getting that off. Good shit.
Yeah, 9 million is impressive, man. That's very impressive.
9 million is great, and it's not even been out of a year.
Very impressive. Yeah, that's very impressive, man. Can't knock that, man. Can't knock that at all.
Yeah. Like I said, to me, I think this console race we're gonna call is gonna really heat up when the Xbox One releases in this second tier. It's only out in 13 countries, and I think the Xbox almost maybe like 5.5 million, 6 million, maybe. I don't know. We're gonna see in 2 months, but both the Xbox One and the PS4 are selling at the same time the PS3 and the 360. So. And they both ended up at 80+ million, so you never know.
So yeah, it's very good for the industry as a whole. I mean, it took a lot longer for those two consoles, the PS3 and the Xbox 360, to hit the combined sales of the PS4 and Xbox One now. So yeah, things are looking up in the industry, at least from the hardware perspective. But then you have the the whole AAA thing, I mean, there's that going on too. You got Yoshida, who's quickly turning into the Don Matrick of Sony.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy is like, it's kind of funny to hear him talk anymore. I mean, we could cover either one. Do you want to cover the 3 or 4 out of 10?
Well, yeah, we could. You know what? Yeah, let's do that 3 out of 4.
Yeah, okay. So Yoshida came out and said only 3 to 4 out of every 10 PlayStation games makes money, and they actually rely on those 3 to 4 to make up the losses of all the other games combined. So you're looking at possibly 6 or 7 games that are failing to make any money, and the 3 games that do make money have to make up enough money to cover those 6 or 7. So that's just a ridiculous kind of thing, in my opinion.
I'll say it like this. There's no secret that Sony has been losing money for a long time. That company has not turned a profit in 9 years. But again, I like I've been saying again, I'm a rebel. Like you guys call me a rebel with other calls. Is that us as gamers? I'm not saying again go out there and buy every fucking game. I'm not saying it because I'm not going to do that. But when you do buy your games, support your hobby and buy them new. That's all. You know what I mean? Look how many franchises Sony have canceled last generation. What's that? Resistance, no more. They can't. Was it SOCOM? I think that shit got the axe.
Yeah, not only that, the developer got the axe for SOCOM. Zipper Interactive shut down.
Yeah, they didn't Zipper also do Wipeout.
They did MAG, and then it was one of their studios in London did Wipeout, and they got closed down. The odd thing was there was 3 studios that they closed down in short order, and all 3 of those studios had basically got shut down after they made PlayStation Vita games that kind of flopped, and then they ended up getting shut down afterwards. So that's like the kiss of death. I'm sure that a lot of their studios don't want to be tasked with doing Vita games. Well, it's not really a problem anymore because all it has is indies. So
yeah, they said AAA doesn't work on the Vita.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Because it seems to work okay for the Nintendo 3DS. So
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, yeah, it doesn't work. I said why not have the best of both worlds? Have indies and have the the AAA games.
But speaking of the Vita, didn't you guys hear? You can't find them in the stores here in the United States. There's a shortage, guys. According to Sony, there's a shortage of Vitas here. They said they're sorry for it. There's a shortage. They're going to try to meet demand here. All of a sudden, 2.5 years after it launched, there's a shortage. So yeah,
they're trying to meet demand.
they're trying to meet demand of the they didn't expect all 10 units that they shipped to sell. So.
No. That was a little blow crap. That was
crap. Wow.
Hey, Warrior, they worry?
Yeah, what's up?
Let me ask you a question. All right, no, how do you feel about the 3 out of 10? Like, what's going on? Like,
What did he mean? Did he mean
only 3 out of 10?
What, exclusive games or multi-platform games?
AAA games make money, and they depend on those 3 or 4 to cover the loss of those other 10. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, I always, how many, you got Halo makes a ton of money, right?
No, this is just Sony shit, but yeah.
Right, but what I'm saying,
yeah. That's a $1 billion franchise. That's a $1 billion franchise.
Xbox only has about like 3 or 4 games that sell really well.
All right, well, let's name them. What we got? Forza,
Halo,
Fable,
Gears, Forza, and
Forza, Fable, Gears, Halo.
That's 4, right?
Yeah, Fable, Forza, Halo.
Fable is,
Gears.
Fable sells about 5 million per.
Yeah. Fable's is a franchise. It's not as big as Gears and Halo, but that's all Microsoft has before.
Did he mean exclusive games?
Yeah, their games.
So he said only 4 out of 10.
3.
He said 3 to 4, so it could be as low as 3, but it could be as high as 4 out of 10 games.
But what are the 10 exclusives he's talking about?
He's just talking in general.
Their games that they make.
Their games that they make, the AAA games, are only making. The only 3 or 4 are actually making money, and the 3 to 4 that do make money have to make up all the losses for the other 6 or 7 that didn't make money. So that's how they're conducting their business right now. They're counting on a big 3 or 4, so that's why they're going to do, the 3.
Yeah.
That's why you're going to see a lot of things like Uncharted 5, 6, 7, and Gran Turismo 10, 12, 15, whatever, God of War, because they're going to count on those big 3 or 4 to make up all the losses from the other games that nobody's buying.
Yeah, I mean, well, it makes sense though. I mean, a lot of, in the past, a lot of people have said, Microsoft only has 3 exclusives and that's it. Why buy it? But if you're only going to have 3 games, make sure that they sell well and you don't lose money by making 10 games that only 3 or 4 sell well. So it kind of makes sense. But what I got out of it is, when he said about no AAA, I don't think he meant there won't be any more AAA games for the rest of the generation. I think he meant that there would be a lot less. But here's how I looked at it. As a PS1 gamer, PS2 gamer, PS3 gamer, he was there for all 3 of those generations, and they constantly sold you on the idea of the reason to play on PlayStation was exclusives, different experiences. You get the multiplats, but you get all these great different experiences that you can't get anywhere else, and that's great. The problem is now he's asking the audience to just all of a sudden change after they've spent all that time building the audience to be geared towards getting all these exclusive games, right? So it's going to be difficult to get people to change that outlook, because they want, a ridiculous amount of exclusives every year from Sony, and you could see this happening. Eventually, it gets so much more expensive to make these games. You can't have 20 exclusives a year. You can't have 10 exclusives a year. You're lucky if you get 3 exclusives a year that sell really well.
Is you think they took too many risks then, Warrior?
You know what? It's a shame to say that they took too many risks, because that's what you want. You want risks. You want something like Shadow of the Colossus. You know,
Hey, but hey, Warrior, but they put a lot of shit they make. No, come on, PlayStation All Stars.
right?
Sony lost their identity.
Yeah.
Like,
There's stuff like that I wouldn't do. Like I wouldn't try and do what Nintendo's doing. I wouldn't try and make a Super Smash Brothers game. Like when they announced it, you know, I kind of knew it wasn't going to do very well,
But the forums and stuff were all like, "That's a day one buy. It's going to be better than Smash Brothers." That's what you saw all over the place.
Yeah, you know, everybody does. All the forums do that nonsense. But if I was them, I would just focus on, you know, Uncharted's going to sell well. What's the game? The Order's going to sell.
Maybe.
I
have my feelings.
Okay, I got a question though.
For who?
What's for anybody? Anybody can answer it. What happens when those type of gamers that don't like your Uncharted's,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And those type of games that are selling well, but are big other franchises like, you know, your Bandicoots or your you know what I'm saying? Your those little Norto games and all that little stuff.
Right.
What happened to those guys?
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like I love.
They ain't gonna take risks. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna take risks on those games anymore.
I don't think that they'll take as many because of the cost, and that's a shame because, like I said, the audience PS1, PS2 was built around experiences and risks that you get. Like, you know, you get these great games that you don't get anywhere else.
The role playing games and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, I see this as good and bad, but I see it more bad than I do good. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of experiences that that made us love that platform that we might not really see anymore.
Yeah, it's bad for old school PlayStation fans because you know they love those quirky games that came out of nowhere and those risks and those chances. But for new gamers, you know, I guess just like, you know, the old Xbox gamers, you know, 3 or 4 exclusives that sell really well were enough. Plus all the multi-plat. So now it's going to be, you have to get used to 3 or 4 exclusives that sell really well and all the multi-plats. So there's actually consoles now between one another.
But you know, I think Phil Spencer came out and said that they're going to have more new IPs every year. So we'll see what how that's going to pan out.
If you look out already, what's the new IPs on Xbox One? You have like Titanfall and Rise and Sunset Overdrive. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll have Quantum Break next year and Scalebound and things like that. So I mean, you can see they're pushing. I like what they're doing with that aspect, and then they also dip back into the back catalog with games like Killer Instinct and Phantom Dust. So I like the good mixture of things. And look, I like how Microsoft not only kind of embraces, and I guess we're going to talk about the AAA thing here in a minute, but they embrace the AAA, but also the AA, because Killer Instinct isn't like a AAA game, and Phantom Dust won't be a AAA game, but you could certainly say they're AA games, you know what I mean? And that's something I don't think Sony has any AA games cooking. You know, what happened to all the AA games, like the mid-range games? It's like a dinosaur, man. Nobody's making them anymore.
A AA game, like you know, how much money it takes to make a game doesn't necessarily mean it's a AAA game. There's a lot of games that they spend a lot of money on that are AAA. They're horrible. You know, a lot of games that they don't spend a lot of money on that are great.
Right.
So I just think it's different.
You know, and I think you know, a guy had gave an example of when you think of AAA games, you think of games that is high budget. You know what I'm saying? It costs a lot. I don't think of AAA games like that. When I think of AAA games, I think of games that actually push the hardware that's in the box. You know what I'm saying? What we pay for. You know, indies to me don't push the hardware. Those are safe. You know what I'm saying? Bets, you know what I'm saying, real easy way to make a few little dollars, but I'm looking for games that really push the hardware, that I can get enjoyment, great graphics, open worlds, you know what I'm saying, bigger worlds, you know what I'm saying, that really dive into the chips in the box and get us a great experience. It don't, you know, but that costs money, you know what I'm saying, and I understand that costs money, but I think that's what we look at, and they work hand in hand. But when you think of AAA games, that's what it is.
You know what you got to remember too? You know, during the PS2 generation, the PS2, there were so many PS2s out there compared to every other console. You know what I mean? So it was easy for developers to take risks because there was such a large audience that owned that console.
Right.
You know? So now that it's sort of like, you know, well, the PS3, Xbox 360 generation, it was sort of 80 85 million apiece. So they split it, and now this generation, like you said, PlayStation's at 9 million. I think that they're hoping that the more that they sell, the more that are out there, if it's a larger number, compared to everybody else, then those risks could be mitigated, because there's a larger audience. So maybe they'll get back to doing that. But right now,
it's that old saying. Count up the costs before you invest. You know what I'm saying? You got to count the costs, and that's what's going on with Sony right now.
Well, I don't know, man. Well, here's the thing, then. Well, because let me flip this question. Well, because a lot of Sony fans, the reason why they say they prefer Sony over the Xbox is because of, these quirky, murky exclusives, stuff like that. But Sony is slowly shying away from that. So are they still going to be so gun-ho about the PlayStation? You know what I mean?
Well, it depends on what kind of fan you're talking about. You're talking about crazy people. So
whatever,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They'll just, people that are just nuts, like on the Xbox side or the PlayStation side, they'll just say, "Oh, it's great." But regular people will notice the difference, and say like like I said, there's less risk now, and there's less of those quirky games. So what is there that you're getting besides what you're getting on every other console? And it's interesting because they just asked, I forget his name. He's one of the studio heads for Sony in Europe, and he's going to be a big system seller. And he said Destiny, and that's interesting, isn't it? Because it's a third-party game, but last generation Microsoft pretty much leaned on third-party to sell better.
And didn't they get so much shit for that too? That's all I heard was Microsoft just releases a few exclusives a year. They rely on multiplats and time DLC. And now, like, I always get that Homer Simpson picture where he's backing up into the bushes, like, because that's what the Sony fans do with that stuff. They don't ever admit that they were the ones saying that shit last generation, because now the tables have turned, which is why you got to be careful with what you say. Like, I was never one to really say, even when I had a PS3 at launch, I never said, hey, this thing has no fucking games, even though it had no damn games for years. You know what I mean? And when I say that about the PS4, I'm saying that as in the fact that it has no games that I'm interested in, so there's no reason for me to buy one right now.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's where my point is. Sales, like, they're at 9 million. And that's with not a lot of first-party games. So if they start releasing 1 to 2 first-party games and these sales continue, then those risks become smaller and smaller, and you may get back to a time like you had with the PS2 and all these games coming out. That's what I think that they're going for. Now, if that works, I don't know, but it may work.
Right, but they can fall risk of what the stigma is now that they multiplats and indies. You know what I'm saying? Because they are known now as the indie station. You know what I'm saying? And it's we make fun of it and troll and joke about it and all that little stuff, but that's what they known for now. They got to change that stigma.
What? They don't want to. That's what's making money for them. That's what they got to change shit. This console is still flying off the shelves.
Yes.
They got to change the motherfucking thing.
Yeah.
You know why their consoles is flying off the shelf? Because they have stolen Microsoft's. Microsoft had one last year, and Microsoft didn't have as many exclusive, but they had the superior multiplayer.
Yeah.
I told you guys all the time, I would rather play a AAA multiplayer than a bullshit ass exclusive. Not saying that Microsoft has bullshit exclusives, but for right now, when you consider between the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, it's widely considered that the PS4 has the better of the multiplats. Because of this whole resolution game. Now once the Xbox One, their dev kits and stuff has become more mature, or whatever the case may be. Then I don't know, but like I said, we're gonna see. I think it's very hypocritical because last generation, like I said, indies didn't count. The 360. Maybe I know what I think it is. Maybe that's why so many Xbox fans are not saying that indies are not good, but we're not so gun ho about the indies because we got indies every fucking Wednesdays, a fucking whole channel just dedicated to nothing but thousands of fucking indies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they was not a big deal to us, so and
Sony
fans didn't have it like that.
You know what? Amazing what Yoshida said to me was that in that comment of the article that we just read to everybody, he said that only half of the PlayStation owners downloaded Resogun.
Yeah, and
That
he,
is crazy.
he didn't
That is.
understand.
He didn't understand that, and it's free. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't, and it's great. I mean, I looked at it and it looks fun. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, they didn't download that. That's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? Because that's wow. I just think people want those games. You know what I'm saying? When they ain't even taking risks or even bothered with, even experiencing that. You see what I'm saying? They, I just think. They looking for those games, and right now they're just not having it. You know what I'm saying? They're not delivering on it. That's just my take on it. They just not delivering
now, here's
on the AAA right now.
Here's a question: Are they PS Plus numbers up?
They never really talk about the actual numbers though. They just say, hey, yeah, sure, they're up, or almost half have, you know what I'm saying? So they have never discussed a hard number of PlayStation Plus subscribers.
Is attach rate as high as Xbox Live now?
It might be close to or similar because you need it to play online now. So most people,
not everybody plays online. If you say, what's the thing in his,
but you get those deals. Like
I know, but a lot of people didn't download Resogun because a lot of motherfuckers probably didn't know nothing about it. Not everybody plays online though.
Yeah, that's true too.
Not everybody plays online.
Good point.
Although Sony did say over 90% at their E3, like 95%, have gone online with their PS4. So that's a large number.
But here's the thing though, go online is having your shit connected to the internet. That doesn't mean you're playing PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can say you can go online. My shit is slow. I mean that you pay for a subscription. That's you gotta watch how they use those words loosely there. So
that was a fudge statement there. You know what I'm saying? He tried to slick one over on everybody.
Okay, like we all know the Yoshida comment, and he says he doesn't understand gamers who only like AAA titles. Even though we know the previous 3 generations, Sony pushed AAA titles, and where was all this talk of indies the past 3 generations? There was none because Sony was doing much better as a company than they are today, and so they didn't really need indies. And now it's like a symbiotic relationship where they're relying on these cheap games. They can publish them themselves for free, and they can actually make more money off of these things than the AAA games, and we all know that. But with that being said, there's been very little backlash towards Sony, towards Yoshida. In fact, I've even seen some places turn this around and say Yoshida doesn't understand people who don't enjoy indies. So they totally turned it around from he doesn't understand people who only like AAA games to he doesn't understand people that don't like indies. And it makes it sound like Sony's the good guys again. You know what I mean? Like if you listen to, I did a video on this and left out the word only AAA titles because to me there's no difference. I buy these consoles for AAA titles for these big high production values. I was playing these goddamn side-scrolling bullshit games 25 years ago, and I don't find that as interesting for my new console. So of course I'm going to play these AAA titles, and I don't really care about the indies. So he's saying he doesn't understand me. I'm a potential consumer, and here's this guy, the head of the PlayStation Studio, saying he doesn't understand me. You know what I'm saying?
Well, there's 2 ways to look at it though. There's that way, and then saying that you understand people want AAA exclusives, but you don't understand why people aren't willing to give these smaller titles a chance. Now, I could agree with that. There's a lot of smaller titles that people just glance over. Like last generation, there was Journey. That was probably one of the greatest games on the PS3, in my opinion, and it was a small indie title. Now, obviously, there's some money behind that comment. They need to recoup some losses, and he's going to say what he has to say. Just like, Don Matrix would say ridiculous things. Like buy a 360 if you don't want to play online. Don't buy an Xbox One.
Well, hey, he should just say if you want, this is just as bad in my opinion. If you want AAA titles, we got a console for you. It's called the PS3. Right. That's basically what he's saying.
But I think.
Oh shit! Hey, crap! We want you to come live for us, man. What's going on? Let's get the old back in here, man.
Well, let me finish what I was saying. But here's what you got to remember, right? Even with all these things that you're saying, they're at 9 million units sold. Okay. higher sales numbers equals higher support. Higher support equals more games. More games equals more revenue. More revenue equals more ability to take risks, like they did in the PS2 generation. So,
will they just continue to do what's been making them the money? Why would they reinvest that if people are just supposedly happy with what they're getting right now?
Because when you work in business, to make money, you have to spend money. You have to constantly do that. So,
but the whole reason they're setting up this whole indie thing and the PlayStation 4 is easy to port things to is so they continue to do that. I don't really see them ever, no matter how much they make, I don't ever see them taking the risks like they did with the PS3.
But if you look at it, they doing the same thing Xbox did. You know what I'm saying? Xbox, they made their living off of Xbox Live, which is now you got to pay for your PlayStation Plus. You know what I'm saying? And they made it off of superior multiplats and indies. You know what I'm saying? So, you have a little sprinkle of AAA here and there. You know what I'm saying? That's what they doing. You know what I'm saying? Where Xbox is taking the approach of pushing out, more AAA games and this, that, and the third. So we'll see how that pans out. We just gotta wait and see. I mean, maybe they saw the business and how Microsoft got a lot of money out of that. You know what I'm saying? Because Microsoft did get a lot of money off of that.
It's definitely a smart approach. I just think that eventually they're gonna see that the gamers are gonna be a little bit unhappy, and you see that a little bit. Now let me ask you this: we all seen Yoshida's thing. There's been very little blowback from that. Let's turn the tables and say, what if Phil Spencer said he doesn't understand gamers that only like AAA titles? What if he says that? What's the shitstorm? What are the people on NeoGaf saying? What are the people on M4G saying? What are all the little idiot peons watching the podcast that only watch us because they hate us in the comments? What are they saying right now about Xbox and Phil Spencer if he says those comments? Let's go.
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you. Let me start. You're gonna see billboards, posters, T-shirts. You know what I'm saying? A box of cereals, you know what I'm saying, with his face on it, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna see all that great little stuff, man, but that's the hate side of the fanboys, you know what I'm saying? We talking as a business, that's pretty smart for them to do. And I gotta give them props there. That's pretty smart for them to do as a business. But, for their gamers, that's not it's not good. It's not good as gamers. But for business it is.
Again, but here's the thing, though. Like you said, and I've been talking about over and over the hypocrisy in this community, whether YouTube, the gaming community, whatever you want to call it, is like, you're right. Had that been Phil Spencer or Aaron Greenberg or whoever the fuck, Natalia Sadal, like you said, they want to spin off the Xbox. They anything that Microsoft does is always blown out of proportion. You know what I mean? Like, you're right. You're absolutely right, Brad. Absolutely fucking right.
You're definitely right. It'd be all over the place.
Yeah. And only people that do, and it's crazy, the only people that talk about shit like that. And here's the thing, I gotta say this right there, and I'll come out. It's not that I'm so against Sony. I've always said that because I'm a gamer at the end of the day. But nobody really talks about the flaws of Sony. Nobody really on YouTube. You know what I mean? If others, no one really does that. And you're right. Now, had that been Microsoft with that little comment right there, it would have been plastered on MTV News, BET, fucking Hip Hop Soul Awards, every fucking where. You know what I mean? That shit would have been everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Word up. And that's the bullshit right there that I'm tired of right there. You know what I mean?
You gotta remember though. There's something called nostalgia, right? Microsoft hasn't been around in the console business as long as Sony. Sony has this large catalog of goodwill and memories that they can lean on. But people lean on nostalgia and they're unwilling.
Okay, all right. I'm glad you said that word. Listen, now you said they have a shitload of nostalgia, but and I'm from the PS1 era. Okay,
right.
99% of these jokers never even played the PlayStation 1, so you can't even give that shit about the nostalgia.
I'm sorry. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about like gaming websites in general. Most of the gaming websites and most of the people that do these interviews, they're older people, so they tend to inject less of why are you doing this? It's not right towards Sony than they do
but you can't even see too much.
Even Nintendo gets that, you know.
Yeah, but no. Even if Yoshida would have came out, no, I watch him. You know the Sony fans, everybody would have ripped fucking Iwata. He needed to go had he said some shit like that, but it's okay. It's like Yoshida could take a fart in the phone but watch the crowd. Oh, don't worry, he has gas. He's working so hard. Oh, like Yoshida,
that's true. That's true.
Listen,
that is true.
Check it out. When Yoshida fell asleep on last stage at Gamescom, and they fell asleep on stage during their presentation. Hey, when I made a video about that, next gen, you're fucked up because he
was sleepy.
Yeah.
Don't stop next gen while you teasing him.
I'm gonna fucking dig that video up. I'm gonna dig that fucking video up, yo.
Yeah. Hey man, that's how they be screaming, man. They be screaming like that, man. Be damage control and everything.
Yeah, because this is what happens, man. The Sony fans don't want this stuff to get out. That's why they troll so hard on our channels. Like, hey, look, me and like, hey, next gen, Showstopper, maybe even you, Worry Wart. Us as we might prefer Xbox, Worry Wart. You won't say that in public, probably, but we prefer to play on Xbox.
Y'all crazy, man.
Well, listen. Let me back you up. Let me back you up. Okay. I prefer playing games.
There you go. Oh, snap.
Yeah, I prefer playing brands.
Yeah.
So
okay, there we go.
If a brand does something that I like, I'll say I like it. Right?
Yeah, but I think that you prefer, I would say that you probably prefer Xbox, though.
Oh, I'm glad that you're telling me what I prefer. Thank you.
Well, no, I mean, I just think,
hey,
I
said that in the past.
He said it.
Yeah, okay, even taking that out, I'm just saying, okay, but us as Xbox fans don't go to pro Sony YouTube channels or sites and troll. We don't do that. We don't go out of the way and say, hey, how dare you talk bad about Microsoft? You're a fucking pro Sony site.
But I don't see those people, but you're saying PlayStation fans. I don't see people that do that as fans.
Yeah.
Well, they're the extremists.
Right. They're not PlayStation fans. The people that do that on the Xbox side, they're not Xbox fans. Those are people that, in my opinion, really aren't into gaming at all. They're just into brands. Right? I mean, I could say, hey, I like the OS and the experience on the Xbox One much better than the PlayStation 4, right? But I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm going to just forget about the multiplats that run better and look better on the PS4. But you got people that'll do that.
Right.
That's the difference.
You're right.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is they have a lot more of those type of people that go out of their way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, this give you a prime example, like what Crap talking about. We all came out and was talking about indies. Pro Xbox. A lot of channels came out and said indies. They ain't the cream of the crop. All this little crap.
Right.
You see Sony fans come out and their retaliation videos. They did a lot of research, man. They came out with all these facts. They went all the way back to 2010. You know what I'm saying? Showing where indies sold well and all this little crap, man, and trying to persuade you. You know what I'm saying? That you should enjoy a console that puts out a lot more indies.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Those aren't fans.
I got you. You know what I'm saying? I got your point. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, it's two sides to this. You know what I'm saying? And those extremists, and those are what I call extremists, where you go way out your way. You know what I'm saying? Because you butt hurt because somebody made fun of something or trolling you or whatever. We troll in our own way. We do it in our videos. A lot of Xbox dudes do, especially myself. You know what I'm saying? I troll them that way. But to go way out your way to try to prove that indies and stuff is fine, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to go there because we every Xbox channel and everybody that I know that's pro Xbox said indies is good, but it should not be leading your platform. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole point. You know what I'm saying? Indies is good. We all like indies. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I enjoy playing. Guacamelee. I love that game. You know what I'm saying? And I've been playing it. I've been playing the mess out of it, and I enjoy indie, but I don't want that to be the leading thing for my platform. When I look at my console and 80% of my games is indies, come on now. You know what I'm saying? 80%.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little too much, man. That's a little too much.
Hey, has anybody ever seen? Have any of you guys ever seen an interview with Sony since the announcement of PS4 come out, where they talked about an interview and didn't bring up the word indies at all?
Nope.
No.
You would be really hard pressed to find one. I would just like them to not bring it up one time. Talk about something. Give me a reason to buy one. You know, and it isn't going to be indies because those don't push the industry forward. As I said, I played the original versions of those games 20 years ago when they were good, and I guess there's a lot of hipster gamers out there now that think it's great, you know, or maybe they weren't alive back then and they think, oh, these new side-scrolling games are where it's at with no talking and you know, and these little 2D graphics and stuff. Man, I thought that was great 20, 25 years ago, and I'm not thinking it's so great anymore. You know, you know. Games to play on my goddamn $500 console.
Right.
You know, fuck Yoshida. Man, fuck Yoshida. Jeez, man.
That is true.
That's all I'm saying. And then, like, the hypocrisy thing was always, I thought, kind of funny too. But yeah, nobody will admit it. Although they'll never admit that Crap Gamer was right on something. They'll never admit it. I was right about the fucking E3 all along. I was the only one that really called that. I said they're gonna be allowed to talk about entertainment and whatever they want, and people are still gonna say they want E3. Where Microsoft,
that's a consensus. I mean, everyone knew that. I mean,
I had someone tell me that Microsoft actually brought up TV because they mentioned the Halo digital movie being in the Halo Master Chief Collection. They tried to say that was just as much of their conference as Sony's, and I said, did you watch Sony's? Yoshida even said, hey, maybe we focused too much time on powers. I mean, shit, when you got to come out and apologize for that shit, you didn't win E3. You should have done better. You know, they've messed up, you know, and then the fans and that is fans, you know, because, yeah, there's fanboys. I'm a fan, and people will say I'm a fanboy, but I don't go out of my way to other people's channels or to Pro PlayStation Plus or PlayStation places and say, hey, PlayStation sucks. I do that shit on my own channel, and like I said, you know, I troll.
Wait, hold up. Hey, yo, hold up. He said, yeah, I'm racist, but I'm only racist indoors. I don't go outside talking that racist shit, okay? I'm racist in my house.
Him and Donald Sterling.
Oh, shit.
Y'all crazy, man.
Yo, I'm going to call next gen a coon, but I'm not going to tell him to call. I'm not going to call him that in public. I'm just going to say that shit behind closed doors.
Yeah, but you see how when you say there's a lot of like PlayStation fans that do that stuff. Like I don't call them fans. I don't even call them fanboys. I don't even know what they are.
But some of them are fans, though.
Right. But there's things that all of us, everyone, can do to either bring those people to us or keep them away. Right.
Well, crap. I mean, Rory, I don't. If you say anything good about the Xbox, that's not going to keep them away. I don't give a fuck how clean you try to keep your nose on YouTube or whatever. If you say anything remotely positive about the Xbox One, you're going to get shit. You know what I mean? Eventually you're going to get shit. I don't give a fuck what. You can say, yeah, bro, I've done videos and said that, you know, giving Sony, you know, their fair, you know, and anything. Well, so bro, prime example. I just did a video talking about us as gamers coming together, right? And let's, you know, I don't care what you buy. You know, whether it's Nintendo, you know, Sony or whatever the fuck, you know, buy, support your hobby. Well, yeah, but I refuse to buy Rise brand. This is not even about you buying Rise. What the fuck are you talking about? Whatever game you buy kills on to the 15 power. All I said was you buy the motherfucker new. That's all. Like, that's just, yeah, you know, that's just period. That's fucking weird on the internet, man. You can talk about starvation in Africa. They're going to talk about some shit about Microsoft, bro. It is what it is.
Yeah, okay. Like, check this out. Perfect example. I did a video yesterday where I answered all the questions people asked as kind of a thank you to the 5,000 subscribers or whatever, right? And so I answered even the troll questions. I answered every goddamn video. And people were like, you know, if you didn't talk bad about Sony, we wouldn't trash you and dislike your videos and all this stuff. And I says, you know what? I don't really respond well to threats. And I can do just something and say having fun with my Xbox One as a title, and it's going to get the same hate because it's not something that's agreeing or sucking Sony's dick. So no matter what I do, they're basically trying to dictate what I can do. And hey, fuck them, man. They don't tell me what to do. know what I mean? Hey,
Wow.
if they
I
can
think
stop
you're
me-
missing
hey,
what I'm
if they
saying.
if they think they can stop me, then go ahead and fucking try to stop me. You got
Hey.
weirdos trying to send me emails. You got fucking people trying to do kinds of bullshit. That doesn't bother me. I
That's
like
the
it.
crap
I
gamer.
want
Tell
to
me the
I want to
most
see more,
compelling.
man. You're gonna
Yeah,
punch me in the
you're-
face, man. I'm
you're
gonna look at you and
misunderstanding
spit
what
the
I'm
blood in
saying.
your face and say, "Is that all you got, bitch?" You know what I mean?
You're misinterpreting.
Wow.
I'm just saying, but you know, end of the day, man, fuck it, man. It
Go
is
ahead, Warrior. What was you saying?
That's all right. You just misunderstood. You're just misunderstanding my whole point.
But no, I think it got you.
But you know,
I'm sorry, but I think it got
if
you.
you,
Ori, but
listen. Now, I'm not saying that this is next gen. I'm not saying showstopper. I'm not saying crap gamer. I'm saying let's just say you're a person and you're constantly screaming about the color yellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you do it for 3 years, right? You don't like the color yellow, but you do it for 3 years. Of course, over the course of 3 years, you're going to get all the people that love the color yellow telling you why you're an idiot, right?
Mm.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, okay.
So
well,
every once in a while, you know, hey, you know, let's talk about a different color. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
I like pink.
Yeah, you would.
You like fuchsia. That sweatshirt you got on, man. It's looking like a.
Hey, but you know something that I had did a video that the Xbox community is growing, and I love the Xbox community. Is, you know what I'm saying, that we have. We didn't have that at one point in time. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the problem with a lot of Sony dudes, is that it's another voice in this community now. You know what I'm saying? And it's going against. It's that you know how you have yin and yang. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that opposite, to where you can't just come out and say anything anymore. You know what I'm saying? And everybody believe it. You know what I'm saying? So you got that something else coming against and challenging what you say. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and people get upset with that.
Well, you know what's great about what you just said? The last 4 minutes of this podcast, we've had 3 different points of views, right? Right?
Yeah.
Nobody's yelling at anybody.
Why
right?
would we?
Nobody's
You know?
upset about anything. This is what people have. This is what people have to start understanding. No matter what you do, there's always going to be somebody 100% different from you.
Different from you. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can either choose to surround yourself with everyone that thinks the way you do, and that's going to be one hell of a boring life. Or you can
You ain't being challenged.
Right,
You're not being challenged.
Exactly.
That is boring, and that's so conformist too. Like, look, me and Warrior Ward are pretty good friends, man. We do another podcast together. We talk all the time.
I hate
shit.
your ass, man.
Yeah.
Xbox bullshit.
But we don't always have to agree. We don't always have to agree on everything. So, like, people,
Yeah.
you know, that's something to keep in mind, people. But also, moving on quickly, one little
He's got
thing that I
Xbox
read.
underoos.
Yeah, I do. It's got like little Phil Spencer heads. Little Phil Spencer heads. They're pretty nice. They're pretty nice. But I saw something interesting. Somebody was interviewing this guy from Sony and talking about and brought up the fact that Sony has kind of a lackluster lineup of games this holiday season when compared to Microsoft. And the guy basically defended their holiday lineup by saying, "We have great games like The Last of Us Remastered, little."
You don't fade it out, boy. You don't went robot on us. You there, crap? Oh man, the most compelling don't get Earl. Woo woo! Oh my goodness, we can breathe. No, I'm just playing. Where you at? Crap, you here?
What's the lineup of the both consoles for 2014?
Oh, well, 2014 we got for. I can go by whatever reason. For 2014, we got Forza Horizon 2, Sunset Overdrive, Killer Instinct Season 2, Halo Master Chief Collection.
Now, here's what's interesting. By the way, Yoshida just called me, told me to cut that Xbot off, so that's what happened.
Yoshida came in and got him. You know he watched our podcast. You seen my interview.
Do you think that the Halo Master Chief, and this is, I don't think it does, but I'm just saying, somebody has said this on Twitter, The Last of Us counts as an exclusive, right? Do you think the Halo Master Chief Collection counts as 4 exclusive games?
No.
Nah,
I mean, I don't think so.
Exactly.
No.
One game.
No.
But
Well,
all Sony got though I was about to call it Test Drive. Drive Club.
No, Drive Club.
And
Test Drive.
Yeah, and Little Big Planet.
They ain't able to test it out yet. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they got a Little Big Planet, Last
Drive
of
Club,
Us, and
The Last of
Drive
Us.
Club. Yeah, that's it.
Mhm.
Microsoft, they got D4. They got something else. I know I'm missing something else.
Sunset Overdrive, right?
D4, Sunset Overdrive, Killer Instinct, Halo Master Chief Collection.
Well, Killer Instinct is the downloadable title, right?
I don't know,
Right.
but still, like, I mean, that's not an indie though. It's not an indie. It's not an indie. I won't give him the indie route. That's not an indie.
Is Crap still in here?
His
I don't
mic
know.
is up. His mic went dead.
Sony Ninjas got him. They killed his ass. They did him.
Hey, next gen, they all sold your house, so you know.
Oh yeah, but
They don't came and got him.
yeah, but Sony's my landlord. The Sony Ninjas, know what I mean? They did them like Dr. Train.
They don't came and got him.
So they
Yeah,
got three exclusives for, and you got like four or five.
Oh, you gotta send him. He need another.
Okay.
Oh, he said he'd be back in 5 minutes. Okay.
Fire one out.
Power went out.
Yeah. So what you say? Rory?
So you got the four, like three or four exclusives for Xbox and three for.
Well, the consensus is that what Microsoft has this holiday season is much bigger than what Sony has.
Yeah, I mean it is. It is. I mean, Sunset Overdrive and
is,
Halo Master Chief Collection is pretty big.
Yeah, that Forza Horizon 2.
Yeah.
If you put Little Big Planet against against Sunset Overdrive, you pick Sunset Overdrive. If you pick Drive Club against Forza Horizon 2, the consensus is going to pick Forza Horizon. What else you got there? Some Master Chief collections. If you line that up with The Last of Us, you know what I mean? Just being, so that's why they said Microsoft has the upper hand this go around. Also, we get the Halo 5 beta, get the Fable beta,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
You gotta wait and see what happens.
I went to GameStop. I did my reserves. Only thing I got for the PlayStation 4 it doesn't even come out this year. I got the Order. I got the collection edition for the Order.
Yeah.
That doesn't come out in February. And that's it. I'm not interested in Drive Club. And yeah, that's it. And I never really cared for Little Big Planet. That's a cross generation game too. That's on the PlayStation 3 also.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting really tired of this cross generation stuff.
Yeah. But I guess, like we touched on before, Warrior, as long as you have, like I said, long as they're still using current gen engines, and like I said, they got to make as much money as possible. And like I said, it goes back to what I've been saying. We have to support our hobby, Warrior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we really have to, man.
You know what's crazy too? The Xbox 360 and the PS3, they haven't even hit like sub $100 yet.
Nope.
Can you imagine how much they're going to sell when they're $99 or less?
I don't think they will though, because the shit. I mean, they're not. They're going to probably stay about around 150.
That's crazy.
They're probably going to. Things don't get cheaper. You know what I mean? Like I said, they're pretty nifty box. You can, just think about it. You can go into Best Buy and buy a Roku or a little thing, Media Hub, and that's gonna cost you about $75, whatever the fuck. And you can do Netflix, Hulu, and all that different shit on it besides play games. They probably don't get to under $150. You know what I mean? And just because they stopped selling here, they still want to sell in third world countries. They just not getting the Xbox 360 and all that shit. That's so they're going to continue to sell.
What was interesting about when you said the new versus used game sales? You remember back when there was this. People were talking about the DRM thing and how the GameStop stock fell on the news that used games were going to be eliminated. Yeah. Right around that time, if you notice, GameStop started taking trade-ins for things like iPads and telephones and computers. They started taking things other than games for trade-in, right?
Yeah.
So I think even they thought that the whole used game thing was going to go away. And in order to keep their business going, they were taking, they take anything now. I can go in there with an iPad and get store credit.
Well, that's the way. I think that's the way the business model was going. Everything's digital, iPads and fucking, GameStop is a whore. They do anything to get money, man. Anything. And again, I've said this before. Just think about it. Like you got Murder Soul Suspect, didn't you, Warren? Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm just saying you got that game, and It sucks to say, like, this game's doors are already closed. They're done. The doors, they're already closed. But GameStop alone does about a little more than $2 billion in used game sales. None of that money, and I'm not hating on their business, but none of that money goes back into the hobby that we love. Just because you trade your games in, this is the big thing. You're not guaranteed to go out and buy new games. You can spend that store credit on old shit, pre-owned shit, and that's what GameStop wants you to do because that's nothing but 100%, profit for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't want you to buy those games new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know?
It's just an old school way of looking at things. Like I look at it that way. You do too. But people, like, if you're somebody that can't afford to buy a new game, you go in there, you say, "Oh, $30, I'll buy it used." I don't think it's ever going to go away.
Oh, again,
I think digital should be the way to go.
Well, I'm not even saying take it away, and I do. Everyone is not as fortunate. I'm not even saying that, but GameStop should have something in place. I don't give them back $1 or $2. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for the developer, right?
That's all that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even if they had that in place, if something would go back into the devs, you know what I mean? Because whether you like it or not, we can't keep going the way that we're going, because if we do, all we're going to have is Ubisoft, EA, and Activision.
Right.
You know what I mean? We're going to have the same shooters, the same Call of, you know what I mean? These smaller studios they won't be able to afford to make these big AAA games unless Microsoft or Sony cuts the check. You know what I mean? To make it. You know what I mean? Because not only will it cost money to make it, it also costs money to market it. You know what I mean? And it sucks. You're going to have these smaller companies competing against the bigger companies, and they're also competing against GameStop, who's selling their fucking merchandise. That's fucked up, man. It's a lose-lose, man. That's why you're going to, this indie shit, I'm not saying indie is shit, but it's going to be on the rise, man, you know? It is, man.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be going digital, you know, these little $5 pop games and shit, because they're cheap to make. You make a quick profit, man.
Yeah, and you can't resell. You can't resell an indie game.
No, I like my AAA. I like my big games, you know what I mean? But we got to go out there and fucking support our fucking, you know what I mean? For real.
You all right, Showstopper?
Yeah, I'm laughing, man. Super Maze crazy. Shout out to Super Maze, man.
What we say?
He said, "I love this podcast. Now that crap's off."
Oh, shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Hey, man, that dude be going in, man. Shout out to Super Maze, man. Wow.
I don't think that used market's going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, like the PC players have already, sort of, they're light years ahead of console because they're digital. Steam is 100% digital.
That's why they're also able to offer themselves, because they don't deal with secondhand, trade-ins. I don't give a fuck if they sell a game on Steam for $5. The developer gets some of that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
They get some of it. That's why they're able to offer those deals, man. But like I said, I guess we done covered it. We can open up to a few questions to get back. If you guys are listening live now, you guys can start answering your questions. Anything, Let me refresh the page here.
You know what though about that used thing? Then and I know Nintendo. You're not into Nintendo, but if you notice when you go to the store, all the Nintendo games, the used prices are much higher than every other console and you got to hand it to them. The Nintendo people, they don't get rid of their games. They buy them and they keep them. That's why their used prices are so much higher.
Yeah, I think Nintendo just deals to a select a select clientele.
Yeah.
That people that just like those, games, those type of games on Nintendo, and my thing, I said, not even so much. I don't have a problem with Nintendo, I don't like the RDC Smart Sheet. I don't like that, but what my main gripe is with Nintendo, I don't like their policies. Okay. I don't like the fact that I can't live stream my shit or whatever. I don't like stuff like that.
Right.
That I can't do the Twitch. Why can't I Twitch? I don't watch your game. And then you tell me I can't live stream it, or if I do put up a video, you're gonna take majority of my AdSense. Like, that's crazy as hell. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand Nintendo with that shit there.
Yeah, but you know what though? Like, as far as developers going out of business, you're using their property in a video, and they want some money. They want some money back, just like you're saying. GameStop should give some money back to the developers when they sell a used game. Nintendo has tight control over that stuff.
But here's the thing, though. But just because you see me playing, I'm actually advertising. Just because here's the big just because I see you playing the game, does not mean I'm not playing. I still want to experience it for myself.
Yeah.
Just because you played it, I don't consider myself that I played it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I wouldn't buy any video game. I sit and watch gameplays all day. That's the dumbest shit ever. That's a dick way of thinking. You know what? I'm not gonna buy Murder Soul Suspect. I'm just gonna go to the YouTube channel and watch them play through it. Has that ever crossed your fucking mind? You know, I'm gonna give out Killer season 2.
I'm sure there's somebody out there.
I'm gonna watch them guys play it. I experienced it for myself. It's like reviewing a game you never even fucking played it, motherfucker. What the fuck? Well,
there's plenty of people that do that.
Yeah, the gun mechanics and the what the fuck?
Yeah, and the game doesn't have any guns in it.
Yeah. Oh shit. We got a few questions here. All right, here we go. News first. All right, here we go. Okay, Young Soul. GameStop is the only conduit between the sellers of used games and the buyers of used games. Like you said it twice. GameStop, with great list from eBay, is just a facilitator of the transaction. And yes, being the companies that they are, eBay and games, they try to find a profit margin and increase the price. I won't say that because they're not the facility, because they're keeping it. You know what I mean? He's basically saying that GameStop is like the I guess you want to say the mediator for us to trade the games amongst each other, but nobody.
Well, if they're to be a mediator, you have to be between two people, right? So it's just you with the game talking to them. There's no other person getting anything back except for them. GameStop. If GameStop was in between you, the seller of a used game, and the developer, the maker of the game you're trading in, then they could be a mediator.
Yeah, right. There you go.
It's a great position for them to be in. They're mediating to themselves.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's a win-win for them. And I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying if they can do away is that they can have the used games and the developers get the portion of that. So here's the thing: what people don't understand. The days of them making these games costing $150,000, they put the cartridge out and that's it. Where they got bugs and anything, what you get, it's not like that anymore. You have these, you have a game like Assassin's Creed. You see that shit thing goes. Assassin's Creed. There's 1,000 people making that game, literally 1,000 people. Okay, once the game comes out, you have another 100 people just maintaining the servers. You know, then you got patches. Their game is supported after it comes out. So even after the game is long release, they still spending money on the game.
Support it, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So this is not the same thing as it was 15 years ago. Once you get a game, then that's it. It's not like that anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not like that, bitches.
Hey.
Back.
Oh, man.
Hey,
goodness.
Guys, I got some bad news, guys.
You gotta pay your electric bill.
So no, Sony bought the electric company here, and they can't really afford to run it, so they're doing they're doing like brownouts and shit. So yeah, that's my bad.
Okay, I got a good question here from Michael Lugo, and this is a good question, and you're absolutely right. Why are games on Xbox Live more expensive than getting them in the store? They know will lower the prices. That is a good point. Microsoft, that is a good point. And they had 20.
What games? What games is he talking about?
Well, like prime example, Rise is still
$60. So is.
Store, and it may be like $40 in Best Buy.
They're like the Walmart of stores. Like if you ever go on Walmart, they never have discounted games really. Like
it's $40 new.
Yeah, well, some stores, yeah, like $40-$50 new. And you're absolutely right. Microsoft should do price comparison. That would be dope. Like you go to Best Buy, say if Sears has something cheaper, you know, Best Buy match that price. You know what I mean?
Are they the only ones that do that though?
I think Sony shit is still expensive too. Yeah, you know, I think the price of digital games needs to come down. Period. You know what I mean?
You know what you got to consider too. It's digital, so it's immediate. It's right there. You don't have to go out to a store. So, you know, you're kind of paying a little more for that convenience as well.
Yeah, but my thing is though they
need to lower that price, man. They do.
Yeah, they do. I'm not saying they don't.
I think it should be $50. You know what I mean? Yeah. It should be $50, and you know.
I don't think 50. I'm more like 40 digital.
I'm just saying, when new games first come out, they should be like $50.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't. And here's my thing, and when you guys may agree, I say fuck it, do away with used game. All games $30.
Oh no, hold on. if you take away used games, that's going to get you a big backlash. Remember, people think that that's their
they want
right.
to they like having their case. There's some people that like just going to the store and having a case and being able to trade that game in. They like that. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it at
Here's
all.
the thing, though. Again, but do it. Would you? There's nothing wrong with you trading your game. Would you rather fucking have a game brand new for $30 than 65? Do away with used games and charge all games $30.
Yeah.
You can buy 3 games for $100.
Yeah, but see, that wouldn't work either because the cost of making the games would still be high, so you'd have to recoup. You're saying that if you do away with used games and make everything $30, more people are going to buy your game, and that doesn't necessarily.
Well, you looking at it like people would take more risk on certain games that they wouldn't take risks on. Like you know what I'm saying? If you like certain games, I wouldn't take risks on. 60. You know what I'm saying? Because for 60, but for 30, I might. You know what I'm saying? Just to have the experience, you know.
Hey, let me say this much, right? Like, I understand the negative side of used games, but there's also been a few instances where I bought a game used and got into a franchise off that used game purchase and then bought all the ensuing games new. So I think there's a downside to used games. I'm 100% in agreement with that. I don't think used sales really hurt games like Call of Duty much. You know what I mean? Like, they don't give a shit. They could have easily done online passes with that game if they wanted to, but they chose not to because when you're selling so much, I don't think it really matters to them. But like, have you ever guys been in that situation maybe where you got into a franchise by buying a game used?
I haven't.
No, like I remember I got Assassin's Creed, the original one, used, and then every one since then I bought brand new. So I can see a little bit of that side of it, but I agree that used games as a whole nowadays, especially with games being so expensive, like I don't buy used very often now. You know, usually I'll buy new. Like if I'm at a yard sale or a flea market and I come across a good deal, I'll buy something there. You know what I mean? But for the newer console, I've only bought new, and I try to support the developer whenever I can because the games are so expensive now, and I hate to see the developers close, man. Some of them like you grow up with or whatever, and it's kind of sad to see. Even like I was a big fan of Zipper. People won't believe that, but I love SOCOM 2. I used to play that all the time on the PlayStation 2, and when they closed down, man, I was pretty upset about that.
Yeah.
The last SOCOM game was terrible.
Oh, well, yeah, the last one, there was a couple of them, man, on the PS3. SOCOM 4 and SOCOM Confrontation.
4 was just bad.
Yeah, SOCOM Confrontation was the online-only one, and they actually shut that down as well.
Well, hey, fuck. We got any more questions in here, man? It's a great podcast show because always coming with his comments and laugh. Let me go to review. Let me refresh the page.
We all love Showstopper, man. Showstopper's the man.
Oh man, you silly.
Hey, Showstopper, what was your gamer tag before it was Showstopper?
Oh no, you bet not. You bet not say it. Hey, you bet not say it.
I'm not gonna say it.
I changed it to this gen. I became Showstopper this gen. I was known something else, but it was crazy. I'll tell y'all offline, man. I'll tell y'all off the air.
Oh man.
I'll tell y'all off the air. I changed it, man. I just started all over, man. I got a, on my 360, my gamer tag was something else. But yeah, nah, I don't want to bring that name up. Oh man, that's classic.
Yeah, Showstopper's the man, though. Let's see. Oh, Dread Dog says he thinks Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo should come together and do DRM. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean,
eventually something's going to have to happen. I mean,
I had a feeling that Microsoft and Sony thought each other was going to do DRM anyway, and then Sony was like, that's just you guys now. They're like, what deal?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly though, if you think about it, and people thought that Microsoft was just so anti-consumer, but they did it to put in place for the developers. Because when I read, Microsoft wasn't really getting any money from that. It was that GameStop got a portion, and another portion went back to the developers.
Yeah, there was a misconception that they were trying to end use games totally, and that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that like I doubt Nintendo ever does that because Nintendo is so old school that they, you know, they really just think that people should, you know, be able to have. I'm surprised the Wii U doesn't have cartridges. You know.
I would love it if it did.
Yeah, they worked it better.
I would love it. Can you imagine?
Blow into the cartridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's classic stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gamed until you did that.
That's right.
Oh, well, yeah. Hey,
real.
I don't know if you guys talked about the possible. I mean, we talked about this before, but the white bundle, Sunset Overdrive bundle, is basically all but confirmed.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah, basically came out from that network. They asked them if there is anything to announce, and they says not yet. So basically, they confirmed it without confirming it. So I mean, would you guys ever consider picking up another Xbox One just because it was maybe 1 terabyte and white?
Yeah, I mean,
I may do that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same damn thing. Why the hell not?
if I can afford it, I'd buy one.
Yeah, I mean, I would. You know, you have
That would
multiple
be-
places, and
It'd be good to, you know, if I did that, you know, a good idea would be to do like a giveaway for your old one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
well, I'd probably keep both because I'd keep one in like my bedroom and one in the living room or something.
But
or
if I
maybe
can, if I can afford it, you know, I would definitely buy another one. I would definitely swing for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really cool, and I don't know, like me and Showstopper were talking about this Halo Master Chief Collection, how good it looks. Did you guys talk about the Gun Goose at all?
Yeah.
No, it ain't talked about the Gun Goose yet. Yeah.
Oh, the Gun Goose! Game over, bitches!
There's 2 videos.
That's enough said.
On did you see the video of the Halo 2 anniversary walkthrough?
Yes.
Yeah,
It
that
looks
looks
beautiful.
amazing, doesn't it?
It looks amazing.
It looks
man.
like
It
a
looks
next-gen
nice.
game. If you can, and not only that, but check this out. It's not 343, so I noticed that it says Certain Affinity on there, right? So
Yeah.
Certain Affinity and Saber Interactive are the ones that did Halo 1 Anniversary, which was really good. But the best part about those two companies are they have quite a few ex-Bungie developers, and they're the ones that do the add-on maps for most of the Halo games that we've ever played. So they know their Halo. They're not just some like shit studio that they get pawned off on or whatever. I'm sure 343 oversaw it, but I mean these guys know what they're doing as far as Halo goes. And man, the more I see about this, the more it looks freaking amazing. I mean that looked like a next gen game to me.
Yeah, I mean, just the 60 frames is what got me blown away, man. Because you
because
ain't
it's
have
the first
Halo in
time.
that, man. It
Yeah.
feels different. I was looking at the movement. I'm like, oh man, that game gonna feel different. You know what I'm saying? I
I
can't
know
wait
a lot
to
of
play
people
it, man.
like trash us because they're like, oh, they just damage control if something's not 60 frames. I fully said that racers and shooters should be 60 frames a second, and if it's not, I mean, hell, I'm not gonna not buy a game because it's not, but I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? I prefer if those two types of games are 60 frames per second. You know, so I mean, to me, that affects gameplay. I would wish that they would lower down the resolution to get 60 on some of these games. You know what I'm saying? I don't really care about resolution at all. Like literally, I don't give a shit. You know?
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah.
I'm 4K tech right now. Yeah.
Hey, Alex Greer makes a good point. Why does Crappy get so much hate? He's just so compelling. I agree. I am one compelling motherfucker.
No, I think again. I think crap. I think the show gets a lot of hate. I don't give a fuck about the hate. You know, I'll fuck somebody's grandmother in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
I just think you know, jealousy, man. You know, and one thing, if you don't like what we do, you don't have to watch. You know, if you don't like the shit that I do, throwing around money, spending $9,000 on my TV back there, don't fucking watch, man.
Dude, we all know that was Monopoly money that you had, bro.
Yeah,
Come on.
No, this was the killer. They said I went and cut the tape off just before I paid for it at the counter. Sorry about that. Want you guys know where I live when I was shipping my TV to you fucking weirdos.
No, what he did, crap.
Yeah.
What he did was he went out and he bought a Best Buy shirt for like $2. Then he went. Hold on. Then he went to Costco and he told the guy, put this Best Buy shirt on. And we're gonna stand near the TVs that are all on layaway. And I'm gonna say I'm buying this TV, and you're gonna pat me on the shoulder, and then we're gonna walk off camera. That's what happened.
Hey, yeah, I'm telling you more. Hey, some of the shit that get in this comment section is crazy as hell. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers is weird.
Hey man, we got like almost 100 people in here watching, man. Thanks for tuning in today,
Thanks,
man.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Hey, next gen, I always say it's amazing what people sell their minds to believe, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing, bro.
I'm a grown ass man. I got a grown man with children gonna go in games. I mean, in Best Buy and saying that, but they didn't call security on my black ass and they're popping around and shit. I remember that motherfucker making all this noise, ain't spending no money. I live with that bitch in handcuffs, man.
Hey, New York Gamer has a cool comment, actually. It makes sense. He says he watched games like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls on YouTube because he enjoyed the stories more than he would have enjoyed playing them.
Yeah, you could do that with Metal Gear too, but I don't know.
Dude, like, Metal Gear, here's a little story. I love the Metal Gear games. When I got Metal Gear 4, that was the reason I bought my PlayStation 3 at launch, because I knew Metal Gear would be on there.
Yeah.
The controller actually goes dead from some of the cutscenes. Like, you have to, like, mess with the stuff so they keep the controller from dying, like, you know, the battery cutting off. I was like, holy crap, yeah, the cutscenes were incredibly long in that game. Like, you were, like, just kind of, you didn't know, you know, oh, is this the part where I'm actually going to get to play? And then there'd be, like, another, like, 25-minute cutscene. And some games I do agree like that. Like, you know, I couldn't finish The Last of Us, so I actually watched the last part of that. And you know, I thought it was okay as a movie. Like, I enjoyed watching that more than I actually did playing it. Like some of the shooting mechanics, and like, just, you know, any game can get repetitive, but that game bordered on a little bit on the long side with, like, you know, throw a bottle, now go sneak around there, now, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, so I can understand why a lot of people do that kind of stuff with YouTube. Same thing with, like, the Walking Dead and, like, Wolf Among Us type games. Those, especially the newer ones, are mostly just you pick a choice or whatever, and then you just go on to the next thing. There's very little gameplay.
They're bringing those two games to next gen next year too. Did you see the story on that?
Yeah, I saw that. Actually, I think they're bringing them this year.
Is it this year?
Yeah. They're bringing the Wolf Among Us, which comes out on 360 and PS3 and all this week, this upcoming week, and yeah. So I think they're gonna do the Wolf Among Us Season 1, which was, I really like those games, but they're not games. You know what I mean? Like, they're good. They're you know, they got great stories, but they aren't like games. You know, like
they're kind of like the old. Kind of like the old Escape from Monkey Island game, stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, it's same developer, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they're enjoyable for that, and, like, you know what I'm saying, like, but as far as, like, actual gameplay, they're not. They're pretty much lacking. That's why I was surprised when that Walking Dead game won Game of the Year or whatever.
Yeah. I think it was because the series was so popular. That's why.
And it was well written too. The story was well written.
Yeah. I think because it was a great TV show, that's why it got, you know, all those honors, or whatever. Did we answer this guy's question? Do you think a box office style system of DRM will work with games? Did we answer that guy's question?
A box office style? Explain that to me.
J Long 908. Do you think a box office style system with DRM will work with games?
What is he? Explain the whole box office thing.
Yeah. J Long 908. If you're watching still, could you put your question in here again? Explain what you mean by box office style system. You know.
I mean, what do you mean, like buying a ticket to a movie, or?
Maybe. Maybe. Shit. You know.
Why does everyone seem to be all about discounts on digital and buying digital if they're so against what the Xbox One was originally going to be? Like, that kind of mystifies me still. Like, all these people want, like, preloading and the ability to, like, share their digital games and stuff, which is all stuff the original Xbox One was supposed to do. So why are
I think most people miss the whole idea that if you have to, doing those things requires some form of DRM.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's what it is. I mean, you have to do that though. I mean, look, when gaming gets to the point where everything's digital only, which it'll happen sooner than later. I'm not going to say in 5 years, but maybe 10. There's going to be some kind of there's going to be some kind of digital rights management that you're going to have to put up with. So. Eventually this is going to be something, and no amount of complaining is going to really change it. Just try to get the best version. Now, I agree the 24-hour check-in was kind of bullshit. Like, they could have worked it a different way.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's going to be DRM.
It's going to be it's DRM right now, but it's just I don't think it needed to be that extreme. Yeah. That was very extreme.
That 24-hour check-in got everybody.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
that
they
was.
weren't even real. The thing was, they couldn't even get the point across what it was. Like some people were saying 24 hours, some people saying a week.
Yeah, I mean, what that was that 24-hour. I think
It
that's
didn't even matter how. It was just the fact that it had to check, and it only, you wasn't able to play your console after 24 hours. That was the problem I had. I'm like, I can't play my console offline for only 24 hours.
And so,
Yeah,
Showstopper, you were against that part, Showstopper, right? But you weren't
Mhm.
one of these idiots that after they changed it said, "Oh, fuck Microsoft. Why would
No,
I get
no.
that?" You know what I'm saying? Do you understand
But
people like that? I mean, like
But
to me,
the thing was, I know I play online anyway, so I would have had online regardless. But the fact that if I left, say for instance, if I left my house and I went on vacation, and I wanted to take my Xbox with me, and I had offline games that I wanted to play, like your basketball, your football, some single player story mode games and stuff like that that you want to be able to play.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I should be able to play that as long as I want without being online.
I agree.
And
they have
that's
a
how it should have been.
console for you. It's called the Xbox.
That's right.
Hey, you know what? I ain't want that crap. You know what I'm saying? I want next gen. But I'm glad they changed it though, man. I really am. Hey, next gen, mute your mic, man. Mute your mic.
Yeah, mute your mic.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, that had to be the dumbest comment
Super
ever.
Maze says, "You guys heard the rumor about Sony going to buy Crytek? I don't believe it. Yeah, I don't believe that shit.
No,
either.
I don't believe. No.
Dude, you got to look at the source, right? Like when you read a story like that from Bob's blog, it's probably not going to be accurate. I'm just saying.
Yeah. They trimming down studios. They ain't trying to buy another one. You know what I'm saying?
Crytek isn't all right. Even if Crytek is having problems with one studio, I think they have like 4 or 5 different ones. If they're going to have so many problems, which they're not up for sale anyway, but if they're going to have so many problems, they would close a studio first. That'd be the first thing they would do. The second thing they would do is probably try to maybe sell off an IP. It looks like Microsoft tried to buy out Rise, and they didn't want to, which means they aren't hurting for money that bad. So I would say that that's bogus. I don't think, and I don't think Sony's actually in the market to buy any studios right now. Anyway.
Do we know who's in the running for Capcom yet?
I don't think nobody bought in.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, Capcom was open. Was actually had the ability to be bought out way back in 2008. And then like they set it to where you couldn't after that. But so they had all this time before that where people could have went in and bought them, and nobody did. So we don't know. Just because they have 51% open doesn't mean that somebody will.
Right.
But you never know.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be huge if somebody did. Microsoft.
Any more questions?
Let's see. Blah blah blah. Let's see. Oh, somebody says Shu Yoshida was talking about indies, not AAAs. Only 3 out of 10 make money. X fags. So yeah,
indies.
Cool.
He was talking about AAA. He was talking about AAA.
Yeah, he was talking about AAA guy. Go back and read the interview. He's talking
about.
Yeah, he's talking about. He clearly says that the big games, the AAA games or whatever, only 3 or 4 out of 10 make money, and they rely on those 3 to make up the other 7 that didn't. So it's really kind of a. It's not a very good business plan, to be honest with you. But I mean, what are you going to do? If you look at some of the risks they did take, like say with Beyond Two Souls. That didn't even really pay off. They were expecting that to pay off like the way Heavy Rain did. Heavy Rain didn't cost a lot to make, and it sold decently to well. It was like 2 million copies.
Yeah.
So then they invested a bunch of money into Beyond Two Souls, got good actors, and then that game only sold about 1 million units. So and they spent like 20 million or something with marketing and all this shit. So I doubt you see them invest that much into another project from that.
You know what would have made more sense? Instead of paying Ellen Page and William Dafoe, just get 2 studio actors, you know what I mean? To play those roles and save some money, because it wasn't a bad game. It was just I think that
You know what? The game was so out of order though. That was the part that got me. It's not. It wasn't a linear and it's weird. I don't know. Like that to me kind of ruined that game for me. But you know, it is what it is. It is what it is, people. Do you guys got any other questions for us? Any questions out there? Any at all? Hey, I had a lot of people agree with my. Okay. Crunk Girl says, "What do you guys think of the Vita selling better in Japan?"
Well, it's a Japanese product that's selling well in Japan. It's no shock there.
Yeah.
The PSP sold pretty well comparatively to the DS. I mean, about the same, So I don't think it's that shocking.
Yeah, I don't think it's shocking. I think.
I'm sorry. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. I'm back. I was talking about my fucking mic off. The Vita is nice. I like the Vita. My shit is running somewhere. I think it's here. The Vita is a kick-ass system. I just don't think, I don't think it has this good enough software. And you're right. The PSP did sell well, but the PSP didn't sell any software. Everyone fucking bootleg their game was
I got a bunch of bootleg shit on there.
Fucking bastard. Support the death, bitch. So
dude, I have about 50 PSP games though. I have about 50, but yeah, I do.
I think the issue though with as far as handheld gaming, I'm just being real. When you think of handheld gaming, you think about children, and Sony's Vita is more marketed towards adults and older children. When you think of kids, 3DSs and stuff, Pokemon, Nintendo got that shit on Smash. I'm an adult, but you won't see me walking around outside playing the
But it's the most powerful thing. Shouldn't the most powerful thing sell the best? I mean, I'm sure that's got way better res on the games on that than the 3DS.
But again, you're not going to see me walking around outside with a Vita playing the fucking Vita.
The handheld market is so much different than the console market. It's really not.
It is. It is. But I like the Vita. I know this will be Sony's last handheld. You know what I mean? Just being real. They can't compete with Nintendo, because their hardware is too expensive. The Vita was like $350 or some shit when it came cost as much as a fucking PlayStation 3.
That's crazy.
But if I can get if they can make a Vita with the graphics of the PlayStation 3 now for $300, I don't know. I don't know. Sony makes some of the crazy shit. I'm not going to go on a record and say this probably be their last handheld, but they're losing money.
I'll say that. They're probably like, hey, we ain't going to make another one of these.
35, 40. But, look, they got Project Morpheus coming out. Sony does some of the craziest shit. They got with 1,000 gig Blu-ray disc about to drop or some other shit. Like, Sony makes some crazy shit sometimes, man.
Sometimes they do shit that just don't make no sense.
None of
that stuff makes sense to me.
Hey, I see your little video you put up next gen. I had to put them paws on you. You know what I'm saying? I won the most matches.
Shut up. This is what we got to do. They think that we don't play no games, but I think we need to start, taping us playing some games, popping shit. I was on USC all night last night. I said I'm gonna do them like Dr. Trey and put these balls on. I'm gonna do them like Dr. Trey and put these balls on.
You got served by Master Lee. You understand what I'm saying? I'm telling you, boy. That was fun though. It was fun though.
Wait, people don't think we play games?
No, they think we sit on Skype all the time and just chat and gossip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's the funniest thing I ever heard, man. That's crazy.
Motherfuckers is weird. I swear, man. You know what I think at the end of the day, and before we wrap this shit up, motherfuckers just hate. I'm gonna go on record right now. If you don't like the content that's on this channel or Warby's channel or Crab's channel, even Showstopper's channel, you do realize you don't have to watch. You know what I mean? You don't have to watch. At the end of the day, like, the comments don't bother me. Like, if I really cared that much what another man had to say about me over the internet, I wouldn't do videos. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. I just think these motherfuckers this last thing I'm gonna say. This last thing I'm gonna say. The effort you worry about, put into worry about where I live and how I go about to get my money. You take that same energy and focus in your life, and maybe you can go in anytime and went and drop $9,000 in the store. You know what I mean? I know it's low blow, but that was just for you dick suckers out there. You know what I mean? Especially those that live in the attics. That's when you
Or if they got twin beds that they.
yeah, you know what I mean, worry about, you know what I mean, what I do, how I do it. Motherfuckers is crazy. Me cheating on my wife, taking dick pills. Who the fuck does that? Like, ooh, you're next gen. Only when you got a wife because you take dick pills. Like, ooh, balls, bro. Put these balls on them. Put these balls on them.
When did you tell people you were taking dick pills? They found out.
I don't know. You know, only person I confided that shit in was only person I told literally that I was taking dick pills was Black Bond's grandmother because she said I was extremely hard that night. I said, babe, I took a dick pill. And she must have told Bond, and Bond told Hard-Eight, Hard-Eight told me. It just went on from there. And
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, they're nobody. Yeah, they're nobody, but, you know. Motherfucker, you know what, bro? I wake up this morning. I had 60 fucking messages on Skype from a bunch of weirdos saying Hard-Eight exposed me because he showed the box to his TV. And what the fuck is wrong with you people? I don't give a fuck what that man has. Kudos. He has a 4K TV, so kudos to him. God bless him. God, everyone should own one. God, I don't care about that. How's someone owning me because, like, what the fuck is wrong with you people, man? The fuck, man?
Hey, next gen.
You had enough, man. You had enough.
Next gen.
That's that enough shake. Like, God, this is crazy.
I had someone told me I have had better luck with the ladies if I switch to PlayStation. So
that is true.
I mean, I don't really understand.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I don't think any console you're playing is going to help you with ladies crap.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think so.
Y'all crazy, man.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Man, we got any more questions? We can wrap it up.
Yeah, we actually do got. We got quite a few. Let's see. Lil Weezy. Oh, this one's for me. Lil Weezy. Why does everybody call themselves Little Weezy? I don't know. Anyway, Crap Gamer. Why do every video you make is about PlayStation? Wow, that's some good grammar. If you're never, and he says you're, like I own it instead of you are. If you're never going to buy a PS4 and don't care about PlayStation. Okay, here's the deal. I never said I'd never buy a PlayStation 4. I said they have to do some games. I'm not interested in a lot of the games that some people might be. The Order looks like a rail shooter to me. I'm not interested in that. I don't care about Bloodborne. I don't like Dark Souls or any of those games. Uncharted looks interesting. Probably won't come out till the end of 2015, maybe 2016. Probably around the same time they do a God of War. Maybe around that time I'd be interested. Other than that, I make videos about PlayStation or Sony because a lot of the big sites won't. The mainstream media does not report anything negative on Sony, and they have a lot of negative things going on. So that's why I make videos on them, and will continue to, and there's nothing you little idiot peons can say to stop me. Okay.
I got another one here from the same person from Little Weezy. Why didn't I buy the Astros, whatever the fuck, the Astros 5, whatever the fuck? The reason why I didn't get the Astros is because you have to hook them up to your surround. You know, I would have to unhook my surround sound to use those headsets, from what I gather. And I have a surround sound. I don't want to unhook that every time I want to play the game. You know, that's why. You know, they are nice. I'm not negating that they are really nice headsets, but you have to hook them up with a fiber optic, and I have my sound bar, the Polk Audio sound bar. I'm sorry, hooked up. You know, everything. So I would have to hook that every time I wanted to use those headsets, so that's the reason why I never bought one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Why? And the ask question why he let Show smash him in UFC. Hey, Eddie Quince, go watch my video, Eddie Quince.
Oh no, you got broke, boy. He got broke.
Go watch my video.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He took some little highlights that he did. He took a little bit, but you know what I'm saying. I got more in the reserve.
I won the last fight, so nigga, you only good as your last.
You know what I'm saying? 7 out of 10, bro.
Hey,
let's get it.
Microbox of X says, do you think Xbox One will sell well in Colombia as pre-sales have started this week? He says he doesn't know anything about the games market there at all.
But here's the thing. I'm sorry, Netico. I know that their price most likely will be cheaper than the PlayStation 4 is because Microsoft has plants over there in that region. I don't know about. And actually, you know what? The Xbox is kind of popular in South America, so it probably will sell kind of well. You know what I mean? It probably will. So, rather, I think because the PlayStation 4 is $2,000 in Brazil. You know what I mean? So Microsoft have plans down there. So
the holiday is going to be a big time for the Xbox One as far as sales, but you're going to see an increase, maybe not here in North America, but come September because it's going to launch simultaneously in a bunch of other markets, and they're doing pre-orders for the last year. So you're going to have that initial boom of a bunch of hits. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see September numbers come out and Microsoft starts announcing, hey, we've sold, another million or another 1.5 million, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what's going to happen. And then it'll slow down, obviously, just like what happened with the PS4. As soon as it hits a new market, it sells a bunch right away and then slows down each month or whatever like that. So.
Yeah. I got a good question here from Lee the Hitman. What do you guys think about The Witcher 3, Shadow of Mordor? We haven't heard of us talk about much about these titles. Witcher 3, I can't wait for. I'm excited.
Witcher 3, I'm
the
buying.
second one was great.
Hey, and just so you
was the
guys
first
know,
one.
man, they confirmed that was actually running on Xbox One console at E3, so that looks beautiful. I mean,
look, you see this? I got The Witcher 2 scratch already. The Witcher 2 is a fucking great game. If you guys have a 360, you can probably get this game for like $7. Even if you have a PC, I know it's cheap as hell on Steam.
Dude, they had that on digitally on sale on the 360 for $5 a couple months ago. Like, damn, man, that's such a great game for that price.
I might double dip. I might buy that game and blow the dust off one of my rigs back here. And,
Shadows of Mordor looks cool. I want to say a little bit more on it. It looks like a lot like Assassin's Creed in certain ways, which I like. So, and I like Lord of the Rings, so it could end up being...
I got a question. I'm sorry. I got a good question for you. I got a question for you, Warren. You're the most liberal thinker of us all. Now, how do you feel about... We didn't talk about this. How do you feel about Warren, about the openly gay character in Dragon Age Inquisition? How do you feel about that?
What do you mean, how do I feel? Like,
I mean, how do you feel about, maybe playing as an openly gay character inside a game?
I really don't think about it.
Well, here's the thing. Now,
I'm not really concerned about the character's sexuality in a video game.
Here's the reason why I say that, because for them to say openly gay, I mean, it has to do something, something gay inside the damn game.
No, I think
he's gay.
Well, no, I think the term openly gay just means that you're not in the closet about being gay, right? You're not hiding the fact that you're gay.
Well, no. This is what they said. He's fully gay, right? Which means that you're not able to romance him with a woman, or if you're a woman character, you can't romance him. You can only romance him with another male character.
Right.
So that's what it's saying. Yeah, that's what it's saying. And he's a side character that can be in your party, but he's not like your character. So I think that they kind of worded it kind of weirdly, because in the past, BioWare games have always had a character that could go either way. This is the first one that's only one way, and they kind of worded it weirdly. And some people, for whatever reasons, I personally don't care. I'm going to get the game, so.
So you wouldn't mind playing as a gay character?
It wouldn't bother me.
Well, I mean, just because you're playing as that character doesn't mean you have to pursue a relationship in the game.
But
right?
to get that achievement, we all achieve.
You're worried about the achievement.
Hey, you know what? I did that. Hey, I'll tell you. There's a
the achievement for picking up a dude.
Hey,
wow.
Have you ever played?
He gets that achievement every night.
Hey, have you ever played Bully? Have you ever played Bully Scholarship Edition on 360? Yeah. There's an achievement.
Yeah.
There's an achievement for doing that with guys, right? Also, in Saints Row 4, you can romance the male characters in that as well. So and you get an achievement for it. So I think that I don't really think it's anything.
But this
new.
is next generation. I mean, you gotta suck that next generation dick. It's like, nah. And I'm just saying, what? Here's my thing. Again, and I said, I think when I did the video, maybe I explained it poorly. I don't have a problem with homosexuals. I will be admit, when I was younger, we used to play a game called Knocking Out the Fags. We used to catch the fucking train down in the village, and we used to fucking fight homosexuals on the train. And I got into a good fisticuff. I was like 17 years old, and I got into the fight of my life. This guy, he was a grown man. I was like 17. I was fighting for my life. Anyway, make a long story short, I don't have a problem with gay people. I don't care about people being married. The only issue I had is don't force it on me. Like, don't make, that was the only thing. I don't disagree with, you could suck a dick up to your hiccup. It really doesn't bother me. I'm a grown man. I don't want to see two men kissing. I'll be honest with you. I would turn my head. But at the same token, it doesn't bother me. I just saying, just don't force it on me. Like, like, what the fuck is, Because when I play a video game, here's the thing, how I relate to the games and stuff. Like, I get into the character, like Master Chief or whoever the fuck. I get into the character, like, the surround sound. That's just me. And like, I can't get into this shit. What the fuck, I'm not. Am I homophobe? I know. I just don't like that stuff there. I'm not gay, man. I'm not a gay basher. Is that coming out as they saying I'm not racist, but I don't trust black people? But I mean, I don't have a problem with it though. I just don't force it on me. That's all I'm saying. Don't take away my right. That's I mean, to make me do some shit that I'm not into. That's all. That's the reason why I don't like Nintendo games. I don't with those characters that's just me. I don't. That called me a racist and a bigot. I'm not saying I don't have a problem with gay people. I'm not saying that. It's like prime example. If you're not into that gang shit, right, and someone's constantly coming to you with trying to put you inside a gang, you're not into that type shit. You know what I mean? So that's what I was saying. I don't want to do that. If I had the choice not to put the guy in my party, or if the way that Warrior just put it out, it makes sense. I thought they said it was openly gay, like he's going to have to do something in the game to let you know that he's gay, and then I would have a problem with it. That's all.
I mean, there are plenty of games that you played in the past where
you're right.
There were
right.
heterosexual men, and they didn't do anything, so it just doesn't make any sense.
But the way that they put it though, because if it wasn't that way, Rory, then no one probably would have paid attention openly gay. So openly, it may be a little flamboyant or something. Like I don't know. Like that's what they put there. You're right. It wasn't until they put that like openly gay. Like what the fuck is he gonna be?
Yeah, they were just putting that. He can only be romanced with another male character. I don't think there's anything like. It's not like you're gonna have to like do anything if you don't want to with them or whatever. So.
Okay, cool. All right, I got two good questions. Amazing. I'm sorry. It's an important question. When you buy Tekken 7 Soul Calibur, whatever the fuck, if they were cross generation, I'm a big Tekken fan. I like Soul Calibur. And if they look well, they look well and look next year, I'm all about it. Question number 2 is, do you want another paperboy game? I would love to play another paperboy game. That game was fucking.
Yeah, that game was fun.
Half the audience.
That game was fun.
What we talking about? But
Paperboy was my game right there. That's old school.
We need to bring back a petition. Bring back
Paperboy.
That was a fucking game. The game was simple as fuck too, but it was fun as fuck. Make it.
That and pro wrestling.
On the Sega Master System. Pro wrestling.
You remember? Yeah, pro wrestling off NES. NES. NES.
My favorite one was on the Sega Master System. It was called Pro Wrestling. Oh my god, that's great.
Bring back Kung Fu.
How do you like Paperboy but you don't like Nintendo games?
Oh well.
He's a closet Nintendo fan.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, somebody says, Irish chap says, when does Deep Down come out? There's no release date for that in the Western side of things. It's it's only releasing Japan, or gonna has a release date in Japan or whatever.
Did he leave again?
Yeah, he take off.
Isn't it great? It's his podcast. He's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Bye. Telephone.
Here we go. Here's a question from me. He says, Crap Gamer, do you think a 60 frames per second open world game will come to next generation consoles this gen with future updates for the PS4 and Xbox One? I don't personally think we'll see that because so many people are obsessed with 1080p. I think for an open world game to be 1080p, it's going to be 30 frames per second. Or probably less than 1080p because I think it's going to be more difficult to reach that. Yeah. What do you guys think? I mean,
on a console, definitely. I mean, if you want 1080p 60 frames a second, then you would have to buy a PC and play on there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Hey, I'll address some PC elitists real quick. I saw a good video by Kid Smooth the other day, which shout out to him. He has a good channel, and he basically compared, the consoles to cars, and then said, okay, well, just because somebody comes by in a Lamborghini and there's a PC guy, doesn't mean that everybody wants a Lamborghini. Like, I was talking to Showstopper about this yesterday, and I like the car analogy. My favorite car is a 1969 Chevy Camaro, right? If I could have one car in the world, it would be that, all right? It might not be the fastest or the best car, but that would be the car that I would want, right? The consoles are like that for me. I understand they're not as powerful as PC, and I don't care. If you're into just graphics and frames per second, then by all means, spend a bunch of money on a PC. I don't care. That's the point that I would like to get across really quick. And I don't hate on PC gamers, but just stay in your lane. Because if you got to sit out there and preach to people how great PC is, then it isn't that great to begin with because people would already know. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all have preferences. I prefer just consoles. It's simple. It's easy. You buy the goddamn game. You play it. Nobody else has a better version of the console than you. You know? It just comes down to simplicity and what we like as individuals. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Crap Gamer that said that?
Yeah, that was crap.
Let's see. Okay, Cyanide Vision says, I read an article saying that China is going to port a lot of MMOs to the Xbox One. Have you heard this?
Supposedly, I'm not too sure how. I mean, it's China, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But I do know that they're insane with MMOs over there. I mean, you got people physically hurting one another over property and MMOs.
Yeah, I heard that some people, like in Chinese jail, can get get time off their sentence if they work like people's MMO accounts and shit. Like, that's legit.
That's
like
crazy.
They do. Like, you can get time off if you like mine and stuff on like World of Warcraft or whatever. Yeah, it's crazy.
What a wonderful society.
Yeah, and he also says, Cyanide Vision says, when will DirectX 12 previews start rolling out? I think they said next year.
Yeah, late next year.
Yeah, late next year. Although you probably will see some Microsoft first-party studios already using it. Like, I wouldn't doubt if Halo 5 Guardians has some kind of use for it. Hey, Super
Did they give a release date? Did they give a release date for that yet?
They haven't. They haven't yet.
So yeah, it might be using it then.
Yeah. Super Maze says, what's your guys' Gamescom predictions?
Well, you're going to see a lot of for who? For Xbox, I'm assuming, or for everyone?
Well, everyone, I guess. He's a big PlayStation guy, so.
Well, you'll probably see Quantum Break a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because they saved it for that. As far as the PlayStation, they've been pretty quiet as far as what's going to be at Gamescom. I'm sure there's going to be something there, but
Little Big Planet 3.
And maybe some more of the Order.
Got to get some more of that rail shooter shown off.
It's not a rail shooter.
Dude, I've read 3 different articles that say it's basically a rail shooter. I mean,
it's a third-person action adventure. It's linear, probably, just like every other third-person. But I'm pretty sure you're not on rails.
Well, not fully on rails, but I've heard that there's a lot of like QTE and a lot of like just small corridors where you basically have to do like one basic thing. I mean, that's what happens with cinematic games, but I mean, if that's your thing, then that's cool. But yeah, I'm sure they'll probably show that off. What about The Last Guardian, guys? I mean, surely Sony's going to show that, right?
I hope.
Let's just be honest about it. That game's gone.
I want something by that studio so bad, though, because I love the first 2 games they did.
But I mean, at this point, they haven't even done anything. They went a whole generation without doing a game.
One of the heads of that studio and another studio just formed their own studio. So I don't know.
And their first game is due circa 2020.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, one thing we didn't talk about is Cliffy B. He's announcing his new game this week.
Yeah.
The creator of Gears of War. He formed a studio with one of the Guerrilla Games, former Guerrilla Games guys. So I think that's kind of cool. But let's see. Like, I'm kind of a tweener on Cliffy B. Like, sometimes I think he's all right, but then he's always like digital only, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that I don't know. And he said that if he ever did another game, it would only be digital, which means it wouldn't. So does he go back on that now, or does he?
Like digital.
Me? I can't really.
I thought Sony only said they was going to be at E3. They weren't going to Gamescom. I don't think they is. I remember reading that.
Yeah, you know what? You might be right. Good shit, Showstopper. I believe that Sony might not be at Gamescom, or if they are, they might not have like a big presence. They might just show the stuff they've already shown off, or have some booths set up there or something. Microsoft is going to be pretty big there, though, and I believe Microsoft is going to show off. Well, we know they're going to show something at Tokyo Game Show. They said that there's going to be some surprises. So there's that, and I have a feeling that they could have some kind of surprise at TGS as well. Did anyone else like watch the Crackdown thing at E3 and then go back? Well, you guys probably don't play 360 anymore, but I went back and I'm playing Crackdown 2. Man, that game is so fun.
I like the
Yeah, I ain't
first
go back.
Crackdown better than 2, but 2 wasn't bad. But I just
You know what? 2. I was playing 2, right? And I hadn't played it before. I've had it since it came out. That's my kind of thing. I buy games and then don't play them. But so I'm playing through it, and you know what? It reminds me a little bit of Dead Rising because you know, there's like the monsters or whatever, like the creatures in that one. You know, they're like zombies or whatever they are. They're called freaks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like at 2 hours. You guys want to do one last question?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We can close it out, really.
Oh, all right. Well,
Yeah.
sorry guys. Oh, you say you want to say before you go or whatever? It's like at 2 and
Yeah. Yeah. Just hey, thanks everybody for coming out and watching the show. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming out. Let me sleep with you guys' grandmothers. I appreciate it. And I can say, don't watch me watch TV. And if it's for a kid, it is. So now we'll see you guys next Sunday, man. Thank you guys for coming out, and you might hear from us during the week. Hey, listen, hold up before I let you guys go. I'm gonna ask all you listen before we sign the show. Worry, if you can choose one game for 2014, what would it be? One game.
If I could choose one game from
One game
to play,
Yep, that you can buy just coming out for 2014. What would it be?
oh man, you gonna put me on a spot like that?
Yeah, one game.
Man, I would probably have to go with Sunset Overdrive.
All right.
Sandidi.
What about you, Joe?
Same.
All right. What about you, Crap?
Sunset Overdrive. I did a video on that yesterday. Most anticipated game of 2014.
Wait, when does
the game that makes the ponies weep, the game that makes them start petitions, the game that they yell and cuss at Insomniac Games over, Sunset Overdrive.
the Smash
Oh,
Brothers
you know what? You know what we ain't touch on too?
What?
Xbox finally got a petition, man. But Destiny, man, they got a petition for Destiny.
Oh, shit.
What do you mean?
They're begging for the DLC?
Oh man, it's crazy, man. Only in gaming, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, all right. Listen. Smash Brother. Yeah, Smash Brother comes out this year.
It does?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to change then.
All right. So, I thought you didn't like fighters.
Smash Brothers is not. I don't know. There's something about Smash Brothers that's different.
You know why?
You know what it is?
No. Yeah, I know why. You like
Go
the
ahead.
Smash Brothers, you faggot. You like the Smash Brothers right in their booty. It's like nah. But well, me, if I had to choose one game, it would be Sunset Overdrive.
Well, there you go. It's pretty much unanimous. Worry Wart flip-flop like a politician.
Yeah, Sunset Overdrive. All right.
I
See you
flip flop
guys
like a
next week.
gamer.
Oh shit, like a gamer, like a gay gamer. Like in the words of Dr. Trey, we're gonna put these balls on you. We out here. See you guys next Sunday.
What?
Put these balls on you. Dr. Trey said, "Have that seat so you can put these balls on you." We out here.
Jesus.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.